All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Into the Lion's Den with your co-hosts, Captain Giggles over here, Mr. JD Stevens, and Christian Griffith, brought to you proudly by Pride Roofing and Construction and LVL Creative Studios.
If I'm Captain Giggles, you're Captain out of it. You've been training the new guys all week, and you are beat.
Yeah, dude, my brain is just not functioning super well. I bet these guys think I'm about half slow, maybe autistic or something. I'm asking them questions on things that I like. Can you? I'm literally like, okay, can you guys tell me what I was just thinking about? So I've chosen, just to give a little bit of a glimpse into this, I've taken a different role for a little while within the organization, restructuring some people, moving some stuff around, and in that gap that I just created, I moved back into sales management. So I'm working with direct entry-level salespeople for a little while until I backfill and replace myself. And I am currently trying to access deep corners of my brain of information that I just assume and understand without actually thinking about the details. Now I have to teach it steps 1 through whatever. It's really taken my brain for a spin.
Well, it's what we talk about with the repetition of you get so used to doing it that it just becomes secondary.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you're actually having to pull that stuff back out.
Mm-hmm.
And
like the 10,000 hours, right? So the law of mastery. There's a certain point once you've crossed that threshold of mastery, where, like, let's talk about musicians, right? So you're learning how to play the guitar. There's a certain point when you cross into mastery with that instrument, you're essentially, the guitar and you have become one thing. You're naturally conjoined together, and you're like evolving the guitar as it's evolving you. It's like a beautiful dance, and that's the same thing. And whoever spent 10,000 hours mastering something, right? That's kind of how it transpires. So it becomes very natural, not secondary, habitual, right?
yeah. And you just
So I'm like, dude, I mastered these things a couple of years ago, and now I'm trying to pull out the nitty gritty details to teach somebody who's never stepped foot into this. Yeah, it's working me, and I hope they're getting something out of it.
Oh, they are.
So, anyways, that is not what our topic is today. But if I'm going slow, if I start to stutter, JD, please step in, guys. Drop some motivational speeches into the comments section below, because I'm going to need to read them, because for some reason I just can't keep myself on pace with everything that's going on. So.
Well, you also got, all the stuff. You're going to be gone for 4 days, so there's another part of it.
Yeah.
But it's a really good transition point of what we're talking about. Of one of the big things that we teach while we're training is working with ethics.
Working with ethics.
And
business ethics.
Yeah. What it looks like when you're in the
Billy
field.
Madison reference. Yeah. Plugged it in. He didn't know. Captain has
See,
no
and
taste
I've
in
seen
movies.
that one. I've seen that one. I don't have taste in movies according to these clowns, but I think I have great taste in movies. I just prefer TV shows.
Okay, touche. Yeah.
So, but
there's a longer investment there.
Yeah.
I like that. But either way, we are going to be talking a little bit, so a spin-off, so a subsection of business ethics, or ethics in general, which is just healthy and fair competition. Mm-hmm. So there was we took people through different sequences of superficial steps with the training, but I pulled everybody in for a really long, drawn out, probably too many words, very verbose conversation about how we conduct ourselves in the field and how we present the organization. And we started talking a little bit about. I basically said there are a few things. There's not many of them but there are a few things in this organization that you will be fired on the spot for. And one of those things is if we find out that people are trying to earn business by trash talking competitors or insurance companies, or they're starting to trash talk their team members inside of the business. It doesn't necessarily have to be during a sale. If we hear about those types of things, that's an instantaneous, this person is a cancer and they are disrupting our reputation. And they ask a lot of questions about what, we get that, it's a low thing, whatever, but why are we talking about this in terms of reputation, right? And you think I think about it in athletic terms, right? And that's where the little video that we just pushed out, I'm sure some of the viewers are going to see it, which is about how to choose your contractor and to avoid people who are using trash talk as a tool to get themselves in front of clients and stuff like that. I look at it like it's cheating, right? I look at it like somebody who is inept, is not the right person for the job, is trying to make up for that by shielding themselves and deflecting a view of to something of something else, right? So, trash talk and cheating when it comes to like covering deductibles and stuff like that, all of those seem to be boiled down to the same thing for me, which is this is not fair competition because not every person in the real world, and I've seen this in my own experiences, knocking doors and learning how to, acquire, sales and stuff like that. Not everybody in the world really catches on to that, at least at the beginning, and they fall into those traps, right? They'll be like, "Oh, I went with this guy because they told me that your organization does X, Y, and Z." Right? Well, did you research that? Did you look into any of that? Did you ask me a question about that, or do you take it at face value? Right? So this does happen, right? It's a useful tool for liars, right? It's a useful tool for people who don't know what they're doing and they want to find a way to get the business anyways, right? But we stay away from it. So we wanted to talk in more depth on this type of discussion forum on why healthy competition is good and why it should be honest competition so that we can all grow together.
And we've seen both sides of it. And I actually got complimented by a friend of a friend. We were talking, and he's an insurance agent, and he started talking about like people that he'd work with, and I had nothing to say as far as when he brought up anything negative. I was like, I don't know that to be true.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know who those people are. There's 6,000 competitors in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that's true. So I can't speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I can just tell you the way we do it
Mm-hmm.
because I don't know these people. So I'm not going to speak to whether this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you how we do it. But I'm not going to speak to whether or not they do that because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's so ingrained here of like we don't talk negatively about other competitors. We don't disrespect other people's property of like if we occasionally you turn signs. It's just a thing that happens. We've had it happen to us. It's gonna
Explain what turning signs means.
So sometimes for whatever reason breakdowns happen with communication or things like that. So people put yard signs in of like, hey, I'm working with this person. Sometimes the communication's not good. The homeowner changes their mind.
Mm-hmm.
So they go with somebody else. And so we tell our guys, if that happens, you respectfully take the other person's sign out of the yard
Mm-hmm.
and ask your homeowner to dispose of it and then put yours in place. But don't film yourself kicking it or tearing it up or putting a knife in it or any of these things. We laugh.
Stabbing, yard signs. That's
It's a really trashy look.
Pretty
and
savage, yeah.
We've had to let someone go over it.
Yep. He said that exact thing because it did happen, right? And so we were people of our word, and we let this person go.
Yeah.
Right? They're a great salesperson potential, but they're just not our salesperson.
Yeah.
Right. But I said something and then I weaved and never came back. We were talking about that earlier, but I look at a lot of this through an athlete's eyes because I've been an athlete my whole life until I couldn't be an athlete anymore, and earning a spot on the podium is what everybody's trying to do, right? Everybody's putting in all the hours in the weight room. Everybody's putting in the hours in the practice room or on the field. They're doing the extra reps. They're sleeping when they're supposed to be. They're choosing not to go to the parties and not to smoke and drink and do the things that the other people are doing because they're dedicated to a cause, right? They're trying to get on that podium because that's just one of their goals, right? But if they lose a spot on a podium to somebody who cheated to get there, how does that make you feel? If I'm just gonna put you in the shoes. If you spent, call it 4 years, dedicated time towards one specific goal, and you lost that opportunity because somebody else last month decided to jump in and then cheated, and now they're on the top? How would you feel?
I've had it happen. It's infuriating.
It's infuriating. It's demoralizing. Makes you question your entire existence. It makes you wonder why this competition and this event ever existed if this is the way that things can be.
I left the industry
Right.
over it.
Right. So it doesn't have to be athletics, but podiums, it's a pretty good visual, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to get to the top. You're trying to become the best because something inside you is incessant and focused, right? And whatever it is, it could be auto engineering, it could be salesmanship, it could be whatever, right? But you're trying for this goal your whole life, and then all of a sudden somebody cuts your legs out from under you because they cheated or because they lied or because whatever, right? I won't... We might piss some people off with this argument, I guess, but there's a reason that political people on different sides of the aisle are always having these constant debates, and why President Trump put out the no men and women sports executive order. Right? It's not to demoralize that one person and make it so that they're not going to be able to compete in something in their life. It's to create fair competition. Right? Biological men have the ability to do things that biological women do not have the ability to do, right? That's what your bodies were designed for, right? So, like I said, I'll try to tread lightly with this particular concept, but there's a reason the Riley Gaines Act is in place. Right?
Is that what they called it?
The Riley Gaines Act, yeah, because she's the first. She was the first person to really go out and actually actively campaign to correct the problem. Right? Best swimmer in the entire nation, right? Olympic level swimmer. And she gets ousted, lost all of her titles. She didn't lose all of them. She got second place in all of them to Leah Thomas, right? Who Leah Thomas has only been a girl for a year, right? Very mediocre track record as a man.
As a male participant.
Best in the entire country as a woman. It tells you a little bit about the differences between physiology when it comes to genetic sex, right? So there's a reason that this stuff matters, and it matters because if you level the playing field and everybody has the ability to do anything, I mean that's the same contract. What is it? Free commerce, right? That's what the America is founded off of. It's supposed to be that we give the same equal opportunity to everybody. And the people who have the most drive, the most focus, the most intention, the most, the obsession, whatever the term is, they're the ones that succeed, right? Everybody has the ability to do it, but they're the ones that put the work in to do it, right? And when you start throwing in all of these other things, whether it's a person or whether it's a policy, whether it's diversity, equity, inclusion, right? Merit no longer matters. The time in the gym no longer matters. All of the things that you dedicated, all those hours that you could have been having fun with friends and doing the things that you wanted to do, they no longer matter any longer because somebody cheated. Somebody who is not supposed to be there took it from you, and it just completely wrecks your whole life. It just makes you question everything that you've ever done, right? We see this in the sales world, especially with what we do. We've put out countless different videos or shorts or different things that mentioned a specific phrase. We don't waive deductibles. Why don't we waive deductibles, JD?
The Colorado, it's the Colorado Consumer Protection Act.
Colorado Consumer Protection Act, right? Senate Bill
38 is what everyone calls it.
Subsection B, whatever it is. I can't remember if it's BCA, whatever. But anyways, it lays it out there, right? It lays it out there for you that you cannot do this. It's protecting Colorado homeowners. You cannot waive credit deductibles. You can't pay them in the form of a marketing expense. Like, what kind of asinine idea is that? I'll give you $3,000 if you let me put this sign in your yard, right?
And it's not will not. The verbiage is specific. Cannot do this.
Not, right?
Because it's a Consumer Protection Act.
Right. So anyways, get off that little pulpit. I'm weaving again. But either way, we talk about that because we want to establish a firm basis with our team members that we will not cheat. We will work as damn hard as humanly possible, as diligent as we can in training, exacting as we can be with all of our processes to earn honest business. But the rest of our industry doesn't necessarily see it that way.
There's bad eggs across the board of like we've been, like you talk about. You're gonna in any business eventually you're gonna get bad mouthed
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be people that, especially as you become more successful,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be people that are going to try to cut you down because can't, won't, or or have zero desire to actually try to compete with you directly.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually they're going to cut your legs out from under you through bad talk of what we're talking about, or they're going to cheat somehow. They're going to cut corners, and we refuse to let our team do it. It still gets asked, even though couldn't we do this? No,
Mm-hmm.
no, we can't. Never.
Well, why does it continue to be asked, right? Why are people still trying to find crafty ways to do it?
Because
Even our own guys trying to suggest ways that could potentially help out with that.
Because it's hard to compete against.
It's hard to compete against cheaters,
Yeah.
right? You can do everything right, but homeowners who don't understand what they're getting into when the competition's cheating are going to say yes to what seems like the better deal cost-wise. I don't have to pay anything? Great. You can have my business. These guys were about to charge me $4,000 or $1,000 or whatever, right? So the cheating, the lying, the trash talk, all of those things, in a perfect world, if we could get rid of those things, then what we would have is free commerce or free trade market or whatever, right? We'd actually be able to earn the podium spot without the resistance of evil and greed and corruption, right?
Very rarely does that exist.
Yeah. I guess this is the world that we live in. But we wanted to talk about this, I guess, a little bit in depth because we also wanted. I know that there's a number of viewers that we have who are, well, more than likely, they all have a roof over their head, but a lot of them own that roof over their head, right? So let's put yourself. I want to put ourselves as we're speaking in the position of homeowners, right? So we can help you embed the right thoughts so that you can at least think a little bit more, sharp when these people are out there being, shitheads, right? If you're sitting at a table with somebody and this person's, they've seemed well, you invited them in, however that was, that you called them, they called you, they knocked your door, all of a sudden you've built some kind of micro trust bridge relationship, and you're considering them for some kind of service, right? So you're Mr. Homeowner, JD, right? If this person starts spouting off at you about, my job right now is to fuck over the insurance company as much as I can. What are your thoughts instantaneously?
Why are we fucking my insurance agency?
Right? But beyond just what their intention was, right? What I want people to do is think back to the root. This person is a bad egg very far back behind this statement, right? If their job, like everything they're trying to do is manipulate an insurance company, right? Then they're a thief by nature. They're a thief by nature, okay? So if somebody's like, I'm going to waive your deductible and then I'm going to try to rake them over the coals and pay everything that they can. Who cares? It's the insurance company's money. It's not yours, right, Mr. Homeowner? No, not right? Because if you're willing to fuck them over, you're willing to cheat to them, you're willing to lie to them, what are you going to do to me? Let's think about this for a second, because liars, cheaters, corrupt humans are not just liars, cheaters, and corrupt humans once.
No. And then the other question that I know that people get asked of, like, well, on the flip side of, like, well, but you said you were going to get everything possible bought.
Mm-hmm.
How's that different?
How's that different? My job is to make sure that all of the assets that are currently insured at your house are documented for anything that was damaged, right? All I'm doing is making sure that it's all notated. That's a lot different than me not only making sure that they're all notated, make sure they're all recovered if it's something that should be recovered, but then double, tripling, quadrupling the cost for all of those things so that I can make a buck. So they're two different scenarios.
Yeah. Well, okay. So you signed a contract with me and now it went up $6,000. Mm-hmm. Why are you taking advantage of my insurance company?
Okay, so let's give a little explanation behind why he's asking that. So we have a process in our organization called supplementation, right? So when we work with insurance carriers, our job is to correct any errors that they've made, okay? Supplementation is simply that. Let's revise and correct errors that were made by this adjuster, whether they were on purpose or whether they were not, right? Because there are some adjusters who are just as corrupt as those shitheads that are trying to waive the deductible, right? Sorry, I've seen them, I met them, right? But either way, if they make an error, the penalty of that error is more money out of a homeowner's pocket, right? The penalty of the error falls on the homeowner. I don't want penalties to fall on you, Mr. Homeowner, because you have paid your premiums and you're paying your deductible. Therefore, you have fulfilled your end of your contract with your insurance company. I want them to fulfill their end of their contract by writing you a proper scope of work. They make an error, we're going to correct the error. There's nothing, I think that that's a pretty, it's probably a really useful service for you.
So you're not just trying to get more money.
Well, we're going to make more money off of it. But that was because we were going to do the work for free in the other scenario, right?
So the reason I'm asking this is because sometimes those things get confused. I'm not just going to say, well, all of these things need covered because all of these things. I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just agreeing on you with the scope of work.
Mm-hmm.
My job is these are the things to point things out. Like if I'm at your adjustment, to point things out to the adjuster. Hey, there's hell on this. This is maybe covered under their policy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But to make sure that like the things that we do know, gutters, all your soft metals, those type of things, hey, there's definitely hell on these. And I'm pointing it out. I'm not saying that there's anything as far as that goes, but it's my job to make sure everything's documented. Mm-hmm. But that's very different from I can get your barbecue covered, not a mark on it.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can't.
Right. Over-promising, none are delivering. Those things fall into that. But
sometimes they're used as a way to like leverage of that over-promising. Sometimes it's a way to cheat, and they somehow figure out a way to make it happen, or what I can't speak to it because I don't know, but I know that some of those things do happen of like just, well, he said he'd give me this for free. Or like, I think the big one to, when they're covering the deductible to get to like equalizing of like, how are we, well, you're using the same shingle. Mm-hmm. So how can he cover my deductible and still make money, but you can't and not make money? When it's the same shingle.
I can give you a myriad of reasons why, right? Same shingle, but there are generally 11 to 17 components on the roof surface, right? So it's not just a shingle. There's ridge cap shingles. There's different flashing points. There's skylights. There's penetrations. There's whatever, right? They could be value engineering the other ones, reusing some of those materials. They could be not doing certain parts of what is required for the assembly. They might be using cut rate labor, right? They might be making up for that lost $1,000 deductible that they just offered to you by shortchanging their labor team, right? If you're not paying a labor team very well, what do you think is going to happen with your roof?
It's not going to be very good.
They're not going to take the extra time to make sure that the service is done well. They might not be operating with the correct license. They might be using somebody else's license. They might be bypassing certain things. They might be double, triple billing certain items to the insurance company just to recover what they pushed out. Right? There's a myriad of reasons how they can make up for the lost money. It's not. I'm not the corrupt person because I'm charging the accurate price. Right? I'm going to charge the accurate price based off of the identified scope of work. This is already approved. I'm just charging what MSRP is. Right?
And I think that that's a huge part of this, of making sure that when we're talking about this honest exchange and not bad-mouthing and keeping ourselves on a level platform, we can always tell you why the price is because we're not trying to do anything.
Mm-hmm. I can tell you when my prices are what they are. I'll give you full transparency. I'll even tell you what we're making off of the job if you want me to, right? But that's because we're an honest, ethical, and transparent contractor, right? It's just the way that it is.
So what are some subtle ways that you've seen people tip the scales of like really minor things that a homeowner typically wouldn't catch on to, of like just super duper minor thing of like deductibles huge. That's very glaring. Anyone can see that. But what are some minor things that you've seen?
Playing with words. Warranties one. We made a whole video over this one, right? I've lost jobs in the past because we offer a 5-year workmanship warranty. And this contractor decided to tell him, well, I'll give you a lifetime workmanship warranty. Okay.
Well, that's better.
Sounds better, right? But if let's think about it for what it is, okay? A workmanship warranty is to pay, or like saying, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to fix things that go wrong with your property if I install it wrong, right? If you install something wrong on a roof system, you're going to know after the first rain.
Within the first year.
Right? It's going to leak, right? Like it's just a play on words. They're getting very, I don't know, slippery. What's the right way to say that? They're just trying to make themselves look cooler. Sure, I'll extend my warranty to a lifetime, but I already know that I'm going to be there. If I created a problem, I'm going to be there sometime within the first 2 years. I don't have to be a lifetime, but I'll tell you it's a lifetime for the sake of winning a deal, right? That's what they're doing when they're playing with words. The deductible conversation, promising that they can do all kinds of things that they can't actually do, but forcing people to sign a contingency form. Do you guys? I guess I won't go into this and bore people, but contingency forms are a regular thing used for insurance work, regardless of it's roofing or whatever it is. Essentially, if somebody comes out and assesses the damage, and they ask you to sign a contingency form, what that means is it's a temporary yes. They don't want to keep committing time to helping you through your claim without knowing that you're willing to go to the table and work with them, right? But our contingency form is very simple. The writing is it's not robust. It's not an entire page. It says you're going to get, essentially in short form, you're going to give us an opportunity to earn this business if you say yes and sign this thing, so that we know at least we're dedicating resources towards something that's a true potential. But then it also has a writing on there that says, you're giving us third-party authorization to do that negotiation of the work scope with your agent, so that we actually have some legal grounding to be there to help them out through the claim, right? But other people will write these long-ass pages of all the requirements of what happens when you sign this, right? They're forced to work with this client or this contractor, right? So they go out there on this first inspection. They're like, I can get your roof paid for, your gutters paid for. I'll get you brand new siding on your whole house. I'll get you 15 new windows. I'll get you paint. I'll get you gutters. All you got to do is sign this form and make a claim. And when the adjuster gets here, I'll be here, right? At the end, they come out. Their whole spiel is bullshit. They get half the roof bought and none of the other features. But you signed a form that made it obligatory to work with them, right?
Not in Colorado.
Not in Colorado.
Part of the Consumer Protection Act.
We're talking about liars, cheaters, and corrupt people.
I'm just saying, but that's how the homeowner can get out of this.
They could, yes, yeah. So, I guess,
Sorry.
let's make sure that the viewers understand what you're saying. The Consumer Protection Act will help them to get out of that contract
But
if they
that's
know
how
how
they
to
do
do it, right? But they're right, this whole big ass thing that says, you can't get out of this, you have to let us do all of the work, right? Regardless of what we told you before, we're only going to work on what the insurance is willing to pay. We're not footing the bill for any things we lied about before. You're working with us. Or there's other ones that put in $1,000 clause or a $2,000 clause or a percentage clause that basically says if you decide to have us help you through the process and you go with somebody else, you still owe me 5% of your claim money.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right? So be careful what you sign, right? Read through the stuff, right? Make sure it's non-obligatory, right? We use a contingency for the simple sake of I want to know that we're invested together in a relationship. We're going to work together. If I lose the opportunity through healthy competition, right, fair competition, whatever, it is what it is. I'll learn to not make that mistake the next time, right? But yeah, long story short, there's a myriad of ways that people are lying and cheating their way to the podium position that they want to be on, or the win of the contract that they want to have. For our industry anyways, everybody probably has different perspectives, regardless of its retail work, different services, whatever, right? But I guess ultimately what I'm trying to get to with this is, I wanted to bitch and complain just a little bit because I'm tired of having to, explain to my guys that no, we're not going to stoop to the level of the guy that just stole the job from you, right? We're going to go and out and be knock some more doors. We're going to find new opportunities. We'll go find honest homeowners that want to work with honest contractors instead of cutting corners and that type of stuff. But it's such a damn broken record, right? It's such a damn broken record that it could just, the status quo is just the way that it is. There's so many people just getting away with bullshit, right? So I wanted to rant and bitch and complain a little bit, right? But I wanted to visualize it, right? Imagine the thing that you're working for the most in the world just getting taken away from you because with somebody who has no skill, no merit, no actual wherewithal to be there and do that thing, but they took it away from you because they cheated, lied, or stole.
Sure, I've lost the opportunity to get on people I consider families roofs because well, he offered to pay my deductible and my deductible's $4,000 or whatever it was. I was like, it's illegal, right? And they're like, yeah, I don't care.
It's pretty wild.
And it's just like, wait, but what? And, it's just one of those things of like, I've had these conversations and, people specifically that know the Protection Act because of their background and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And it's like, okay, that's totally fine. And it's hard. It's really frustrating at times, especially directly after any storms. We work from that of it's not the only way we generate, but we do work from storms, and there's a lot of people that offer that, and it can be really frustrating. And it's not even just a deductible conversation. It's just they offered to give this to them for free. And it's crazy. It's basically, we're going to give you something free. We're not waiving your deductible, but we're giving you this for free, and it's the value of your deductible. And I know that there's some of that of that's fine, but
there's some legalness to certain things. Offering free services is totally legal, right? Yeah. But offering to help your client make money off their claim, very illegal.
Yeah.
Very legal, So I know we pigeonholed into restoration and what we do specifically, but I don't know. I think that it's a broad topic that I think everybody can get adjusted to, but I think we should think through different perspectives, and that's all I really wanted to get to in this conversation is let's think from the viewer's perspective. If you're out there selling your product, right, put yourself in the homeowner's shoes and I'll start to learn how to embed those conversations and to help them thwart off the people they shouldn't be working with, right? If somebody's trash talking a competitor, let's say I need to get my bathroom remodeled, and I get 3 bids from 3 different bathroom installers. If I have one of them that's like, oh, you don't want to work with that group because I told them, I got affordable and Edge and this person or whatever. Those are made up names, by the way. But either way, I got these 3 people. Your price is a little bit higher, and you don't want to go with them. Well, why not? I heard that they like to hire felons, and they like to somehow manage to do or whatever, right? The first thing that I would think, because of my experience from the other side, is that's low, right? That's weak. That is a response of an insecure person, right? A secure person would have been like, well, my price is higher because of the quality that I bring, right?
Quality, experience, my team.
Right. I come with 500 5-star reviews. My reputation is spotless in the community. I give back as much as I possibly can. I have a lot of people who work for me who don't want to work anywhere else because, they feel so comfortable and I take such good care of them, right? I believe my price is the way that it is because of what it comes with it. It's not just the product, but it's the experience and it's the backing of all the quality that we bring here, right? I would accept that response. That's somebody who's confident. That's somebody who has been tried and tested. As somebody who's made it through the waves and somehow managed to be still at the end of the spear in their individual area. I'll buy the heavier priced item because that person is confident and that person is backed by all of the reputation they bring, right? I will never buy from the person who's like, oh, their price is higher because, they're dickheads and they gouge. And I'm like, okay, so how do you know that? right? Because you lose all the time to these people. So now you just want to like cut them down so that you somehow have a fighting stance. Like, get out of my house. Take your piece of paper with you. I don't want your bid anymore.
I have bought more often when I've bought things from the person that was typically higher
Mm-hmm.
because it's just been more honest.
Right.
They've been more upfront with things that they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell
Mm-hmm.
when someone's trying to schmooze you
Yeah.
through less than savory means of like, come on.
They're sweating as they're smiling at you like this. Yeah, please buy it. Anyways, I'll get off my little pulpit. We can get off of this one. This is a really simplified topic, but it's to the broad world. Be people of quality. Operate in a world where we all hope to be, which is we're all fighting for the same podium spot, but really the person who takes the podium should be the person who's most obsessive about it, the person who's most focused on it, the person who puts in the most amount of reps, the person who does all that work in the darkness that nobody sees so that they can shine for that one day on the podium spot. That's the person who should take it, right? Obsessive, focused, honest, whatever, right? Let's all go out and be that person, right? I would love if any viewers on this, if you could write a comment into the video if you've experienced this with those shysters that are at your doorstep, or if you have a win where they come to your doorstep and you ask the right questions and you see the character given in front of you and you direct them the other way, right? Write that in. We'd love to see some wins like that because we need to build a better world.
I agree completely.
Yeah. Got anything else?
I don't have anything else. I think that it's just about everything we've talked about. Win in the right way.
Yeah. I take this onto a different level. Maybe I should even say that too. I take this on a different level. I will not trash talk my competitors. I have to bite my tongue, and I honestly have probably almost bitten through my tongue a number of different times when I know who it is that's presenting that I'm losing the job to. I still won't lower myself to their level to tell this client. I wish they would have vetted them better. I won't. I'm not that person.
We're winning because of it.
Yeah, well, pride killed the lion, so I don't know. Well, let's see. Let's see what happens. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Into the Lion's Den. We appreciate all of the love and the support we've gotten over time. Please like and subscribe, engage in our content, drop us some lines, send us some helpful topics, things that maybe we've talked about and we haven't expanded on. We'd love to tailor fit our next episode to you. We'll see you next week.
Thank y'all.
Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Into the Lion's Den. We appreciate your time, and we hope that you've gathered enough ammunition to go out, fight the good fight, and become a better person every single day. Please like and subscribe, engage in our content, ask us some questions. We'd love to tailor fit the next episode to you.